Hello, everybody. Welcome to Always at the Top podcast. Hope you're doing great in every aspect of your life, and if not, good. This means that the breakthrough that you are waiting for to happen is going to happen soon, because it is through our challenges in life that we rise up again just one more time. Maybe the definitive factor that will produce everything that you want or need in life. So keep on striving, keep on moving, keep on fighting, and always remember, keep on with the right attitude and consistency, because no matter what, we need to come through whatever life is putting us. So be bold, courageous, kind, generous, and strong. God will never fail you. That's for sure. This is why we are continuing to do what we do, because we use everything that we have in disposal to bring you guys facts and information that will bring you to the next level of your life. We see possibilities. We see possibilities and we coach them and we fight for you. We find information to strengthen you and to see in everybody the best version that we are seeing into you. So be bold, be courageous, be kind, be generous, be strong, be confident. Share your process and respect yourself from everything that is bothering you right now, because your best version of yourself is waiting for you. You deserve it all. You deserve it all. So share with us your experience so far. Don't be shy and try to believe in yourself more. So share your transformation in body, spirit, emotions, whatever it might be. You can be an example for other people, and don't try to overthink too much about what your family, friends, or relatives might think of you. Just do it, and please don't forget to share, like, comment our content, and tell everybody that we exist here in this virtual realm, because we are trying to align with everybody in the northwest, east, and south, so we can expand our podcast and we can tell other people how amazing they can be and how amazing they can transform into their best version. So be a supporter, be a friend to somebody else, and share that we exist into this realm. So share the information with your close relative so we can raise up their life standards, and so they can have a great life too. So tell everybody to subscribe, because that's how we align with everybody, and that's how we strive for more, to produce more information free for you guys. I have a quote. So we are scrolling throughout Instagram and social media in general, and for about 2 hours per day. So please follow us, share, subscribe to our Instagram pages and YouTube channel, because it means so much, because we have free content, we have tools, mechanisms, protocols that will help you rise up with pleasure to the next level of your life. So tell everybody that we exist here. Don't be shy, please. Now let's focus on what the next episode of Raising Up Our Life Standards will be. And this episode will be a game changer for you. Episode 14 of Raising Up Your Life Standards is going to be all about lowering your expectations on other people and continue to raise up your own self. This will change everything for you, because now you know the strengths that you have, and now you know the weaknesses that you have, and now you have the protocol, and now you are being grateful for everything that you have. that is inside you because you want to have a qualitative life. You dreamt about it, you put the effort, and now you're taking up the fruits. So how to do that? Well, by raising up your self expectations and lowering others. Vibrate to the frequencies that are great for you and you only. The others will meet you in your frequencies, in your vibrations, in the other phase, if they are willing to put on the work. Always prefer quality versus quantity. So don't postpone your life. Put the density of the work so much on yourself and your life standards and put them accordingly. Stop focusing on how stressed you are and start focusing on how blessed you are. This will develop into you another chapter, another mindset of abundance, prosperity, wellness, and will put you on a higher life standards. So that's how powerful you can be and you actually are. So in this episode we're going to talk about expectations, their importance, values, and a lot of other subtopics. But let's start from the beginning. What are expectations in fact? The best thing in life are unexpected because we had no expectations, said Eli Kamator. And he was right. Happiness is usually proportional to our level of acceptance and inversely proportional to our expectations. Expectations are present in our day-to-day life, stocking us with their load of illusions and pretensions. But when they are not fulfilled, something there happens often. We slip down into the hail of frustration, disappointment, and disillusionment. That's why it's essential to understand the mental pitfalls that expectations represent. So what are expectations? The word expectations come from Latin expectare, which in turn is composed of the prefix ex, which indicates outside, and the word spectare, which means to see or contemplate. This means that expectations from their own etymology consist of waiting for what is desired to happen. Is this therefore the projection of a hope or desire, either on events or people? In fact, its relationship with the word specular and speculation is curious, which also comes from the Latin specularis, and refer to what is reflected as a mirror. This link tells us that expectations are in a certain way a projection in the world of our desires, interests, and even values. In this way, expectations acquire not only a specular detector, but also a speculative one, because not only do we think that the others should reflect them, but in many cases this desire does not have a real basis, so it enters the world of speculation. In this way, expectations end up fulfilling a double action of an ambivalent nature. On the one hand, they condemn the person who feeds them to a passive role, since they must wait for what they want to happen, but at the same time, that person binds others to their expectations by implicity, communicating them through their attitudes with which they try to take away their choice. In fact, in some cases we can entertain a slight expectation, such as when we simply wish the sun would rise, in which easy it takes on a humble, discreet, and confident weight. But in other cases, expectations can become very intense to the point of being contagious, and we contain ourselves with negativity and adding great stress to those who are on their way, such as when we expect them to do something for us since they owe us a favor. Expectations are personal beliefs about events that may or may not happen. They are assumptions about the future. They basically anticipate based on subjective or objective aspects. In fact, expectations form a complex of experiences, desires, and knowledge of the environment or the people around us. Expectations range from a small chance of occurrence to an almost certain occurrence. So now that we have seen what are expectations and what do they do and where they come from, let us focus on the functions of expectations. So what are the functions of expectations? The main function of expectations is to prepare us for action. If we mentally anticipate what may happen, we can prepare an action, a plan, so that life does not take us by surprise. Expectations, therefore, help us mentally prepare for the future. In fact, most of our decisions are not based solely on objective data as we like to believe, but on the expectations we have about the results of those decisions. That means that every decision is in some way an act of faith. Behind every decision lies the confidence that our expectations about the consequences of our choices will come to pass. Therefore, expectations become a kind of inner compass. The problem is that expecting something to happen will not make it happen. So when expectations are unrealistic, they can end up playing tricks on us, and instead of helping us prepare mentally, they lead us to frustration. 5 ways or 5 examples of unrealistic expectations that fuel magical thinking. First one, life should be fair. Life is not fair. Bad things happen to everyone. Expecting that we can get rid of problems and difficulties just because we think we are good people is an example of an unrealistic expectation that we often nurture. The second one, people have to understand me. We all suffer to some extent from what is called false consensus effect, a psychological phenomenon whereby we tend to think that a large number of people think like us and that we are right. It is not always like that. Everyone has their point of view and it does not have to coincide with ours. The third one, everything will be fine. It is a phrase, right, that we often say to ourselves to instill confidence, but the truth is that if we do not make sure that things go well by putting our hands to work, our plans could go awry at any time. People should be nice at me. We expect people to be kind and willing to help us, but that won't always be the case. Some people won't like us and others just don't care about us. We must accept it so we can be free. I just have to repeat that. People should be nice at me. No, people should not. They do not have that obligation to be nice to you because, first of all, they don't care. Most of the time, first of all, they don't like you. Some of them. So we must accept it so we can be free. The fifth one, I can change it. We tend to think that we can change others, a fairly common expectation in relationships. But the truth is that personal change must come from within, from intrinsic motivation. We can help a person to change, but we cannot change or fix them. So the 5 examples of unrealistic expectations that fuel magical thinking are: life should be fair. No, life is not fair. Bad things happen to good people too. So try to fix this unrealistic expectation. People have to understand me. No, people have different point of view. If you want people to understand you, you have to communicate better. Everything will be fair. No, everything is not fine and not fair. Everything can be fair if we put on the work. Fine if we put on the work. People should be nice at me. No, some people don't like us, some people don't care. So accept it and be free. I can change it. No, you can help them change if they want to put on the work from within. So you see why it's important to know these facts now? Because they give us a realistic observation of what to expect and what to not expect from others. William Shakespeare said once, the happiest person is the one who expects nothing in life. So this is so magnificent what he said. So you cannot change people. Life is not fair. Everything will be fine if you put on the work. People does not have to understand you, and you have to be or accept that other people won't like you or other people don't care, so you can move on and be free. So after seeing the functions of expectations and 5 examples of unrealistic expectations, let's focus our attention on the consequences of unrealistic expectations. So the consequences of unrealistic expectations. So everything is linked up, right? Expectations are not harmful in themselves, since they help us form a general picture of what could happen in the more or less near future. The problem begins when we expect life to go according to our wishes, something that sooner rather than later will lead us to disappointment, because as the writer Margaret Mitchell said, life is not obliged to give us what we expect. The problem appears when we forget that our expectations only reflect a wish or a probability, often quite remote, of something happening. When we lose sight of that perspective, expectations become a real happiness killer. Also, when unfulfilled expectations involve the failure of other people to believe the way we expect, disappointment is compounded by resentment, which will end up deeply affecting the relationship, causing us to lose trust in those people. Getting rid of expectations is complicated. The good news is that we don't need to banish them from our psychological world, but we do need to learn to distinguish between realistic and unrealistic expectations. The advantages of measuring your expectations. The first one is take responsibility for your decisions. Expectations are not facts, they are simple possibilities. Understanding this difference, which is not merely terminological, will allow us to take control of our lives. That means that if you want something to happen, you must be proactive and take whatever steps are necessary to make that wish come true, not waiting for others to guess what we want to or expect from them. Paradoxically, expecting less and acting more allow us to regain control without feeling overwhelmed, since it implies greater confidence in our potentialities and greater self-knowledge. People who don't sit around waiting for others to meet their expectations but instead fight for what they want don't usually take on the role of victim or martyr, but take it upon themselves to make things happen. The second advantage is separate your wishes from your duties. Most of the time, we operate on autopilot, assuming the herd mentality that we dedicate ourselves to fulfilling our duties. However, duties are nothing more than the expectations that others have imposed on us, by them, by the family, or the society. When do not fulfill our duties, we feel guilty. But if we comply with them, we expect a reward, and when it does not come, we get angry and disappointment. And disappointment comes. In any case, we always lose because we are immersed in a permanent negative emotional state. However, letting go of our expectations also means understanding that we don't need to fulfill the expectations of others, and it is a liberating process through which you come into contact with your true desires and passions, which are two fundamental ingredients to achieve what you set out to do in life. The third advantage is to enjoy more the present. Do not cross the bridge until you reach it, advises an English saying. Do not cross the bridge until you reach it. We need to understand that expectations are made up of bits and pieces of the past, which have served us to make predictions and wishes for the future, but they do not contain even a hint of the present, which is the only thing we really have. Expectations without action only serve to enclose us in the trap of the future. They limit us to the role of the chess player who is sitting waiting for his opponent's move, while all the possible moves to counterattack go through his mind. Only that in life, assuming the role of the chess player for too long means letting the present slip away. In addition, expectations often become glasses that prevent us from seeing the world clearly. By waiting for something, we can miss other opportunities, as if we were on a station platform waiting for a train that never comes, and meanwhile we let the others go. On the contrary, having realistic expectations allows us to live in the present, build and take advantage of the opportunities that offer us. So the advantages of expectations, of measuring our expectations, are: take responsibility for your decisions, separate your wishes from your duties, enjoy more the present. When we do that, then we just disconnect from the outcome that we think that we deserve to have. But how to adjust expectations? Control the expectant mind. In Buddhism, reference is made to the expectant mind to refer to those people who expect something but do not put their hands to work to achieve it. From this point of view, expectations would be useless. In fact, they are counterproductive, because when they are not fulfilled, they only serve to generate pain and suffering, irritation and sadness. The solution? Control that expected mind. We can achieve these by opening ourselves more to uncertainty and to the course of life, experiencing situations without anticipating a result. So control the expectant mind. The second one, let go of the need for control. Many expectations stem from our need for control, and the idea that there is a linear relationship between cause and effect. We hope that if we do something for someone, for example, sooner or later they will return favor. But life doesn't work that way, or at least not always. Therefore, to adjust expectations, you must let go of the need to control everything and become more open to change, the unknown or even the improbable. You need to stop taking certain outcomes or behaviors of others for granted, especially when they are not entirely up to you. So let go of the need for control. The third one, differentiate between realistic and unrealistic expectations. Expectations helps us prepare for the future so we can use them to our advantage. We just need to learn to differentiate realistic expectations, that those that have a high probability of becoming reality, from unrealistic ones that are based almost exclusively on our wishes. We must keep in mind that unrealistic expectations are deliberate resentments. As Steve Lange said, there is a good chance they will not be met. Expecting a person to do something for us that goes against his interest is unrealistic. On the other hand, expecting that person to do something for us that also favor him is a more realistic expectation. So, differentiate between realistic and unrealistic expectation. 4. Use expectations to open your mind. We tend to use expectations as a tunnel that leads only to a destination with little chance of detour along the way. Instead, since expectations are just assumptions about the future, you can use them as a tool to search your mind. Use them to broaden your thinking by weighting all possible options, even the least likely ones. This will give you the opportunity to discover new paths and embrace uncertainty, also freeing yourself from the pain caused by things not going to the plan. So use expectations to open your mind. The 5th, communicate your expectations. Believing that an unspoken expectation will bring us what we want is magical and unrealistic thinking. In reality, it is very likely that an unexpressed expectations will not be fulfilled. Therefore, if we expect something from others, we should not expect them to read our thoughts. The best thing is to communicate our expectations, explain what we want, and know their willingness to help us. So communicate your expectations. The 6th one, prepare a plan B. Communicating our expectations is not always enough to make them come true. Between our plans and their achievement are many factors beyond our control, so the smartest thing is to have a plan B prepared. As the writer Dennis Waitley said, hope for the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised. That's the attitude. So, how to adjust expectations? Well, control the expected mind. As a Buddhist reference, open up your mind. Control that expected mind. We can achieve this by opening ourselves more to uncertainty and to the course of life, experiencing situations without anticipating the result. Let go of the need for control. Just let go. Give a chance to the unknown, and become more open to change. Make sure you are differentiating between realistic and unrealistic expectations. So, as Steve Lange said, there is a good chance they will not be met. So expecting a person to do something for us that goes against his interest is an unrealistic expectation. On the other hand, expecting that person to do something for us that also favor him is a more realistic expectation. Use expectations to open your mind. Don't be stuck in the future, be in the present. Communicate your expectations. If you want something, go and express your desires. Prepare for a plan B. Hope for the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised. Dennis Waitley. That's the attitude, my friends. That's the attitude. How to deal with other people's expectations. This is a big one. Managing your own expectations is complex, but it can be even more difficult to deal with the expectations of others, since in a certain way we are programmed to comply with social norms and do what is expected of us. In this way, we obtain the approach and acceptance of the different groups to which we belong. However, there are times when the expectations of others become a chain that limit us, and we have to get rid of them. In that case, it is important to be clear. If you are detecting that others have expectations that you cannot or do not want to meet, the best coping strategy is usually to put them on the table. Talk about those expectations and make it clear what you are willing to do and the red lines you will not cross. Many times people harbor expectations unconsciously or because they are guided by patterns and social roles that you may not be willing to follow. If you want to maintain a healthy and respectful relationship in which neither of you feels forced to make decisions by the pressure of others, people expect actions. It is essential that you approach these issues honestly. It is also important that you prepare yourself for conflicts, reproaches, or recriminations, because you cannot expect the other person to always understand your point of view. A broken expectation hurts, so people will try to hold on that hope. Assumes that everyone has his own expectations, and it's not always possible to match ours or satisfy them. Once you have made your position clear, the other person is entirely responsible for this expectation. In any case, keep in mind that you don't need to justify your life decisions. You will not always be able to adjust the expectations of others. You don't have to make decisions that please others. The key lies in finding a balance between what you want and what makes you happy and what does not harm the people around you. After all, whoever really loves you will understand you. So be clear as much as you can about what others expect from you. The psychology of expectations. This is an article published by Psychology Today by John A. Johnson, PhD. And they explain the psychology behind expectations. Its wisdom can be derived by acknowledging two psychological facts. The first one is to, by expecting something to happen will not make it happen. Developmental psychologist Jean Piaget noted that young children have difficulty distinguishing between the subjective world in their heads and the outer objective world. According to Piaget, children therefore sometimes believe that their thoughts can directly cause things to happen. For example, thinking angry thoughts about your little brother can cause him to fall down the stairs. Piaget refers to this as magical thinking and suggested that we all outgrow it by the age of 7. That is where Piaget went wrong. It turns out that many normal adults continue to engage in various forms of magical thinking. Second, human beings have a natural tendency to pin their hopes for happiness on fulfilled expectation. There is nothing wrong with this in and of itself, as long as we have good reasons to believe that fulfilling an expectation will make us happy, and we take the necessary steps toward fulfilling those expectations. Good reasons, in brackets, might include us knowing from past experiences that certain things make us happy. For example, I know from experience that my morning cup of coffee will almost inevitably give me a little bit of happiness. I therefore expect this experience each morning after I finish my yoga session and breakfast. The problem of expectation occurs when we expect something to happen without good reasons from that expectation. If I believe that my expectations alone will bring me what I want, I'm using magical thinking and setting myself up for disappointment. This is really obvious when we are talking about coffee. I cannot make a cup of coffee just by thinking it into existence. I have to take the necessary steps to make it happen. I have to grind the beans, put the coffee and water in my coffee maker, and push the button. It is a process. Everything. Yes, your thought absolutely matters, but for most it matters the quality of your thoughts. Not every thought is digestible. You need to take necessary steps to make your wish, desires, needs happen. Meditate, manifest, attract everything you want, but at the end you just need to put the effort to make something happen. Thoughts and ideas are a great source that we have inside, but thoughts and ideas without sharing, taking actions, are absolutely thoughts and ideas. So to bring them in, you need to push yourself a bit harder so you can expect everything to happen. So try and do that, and you will see your expectations be met. Life is easier, beautiful, greater this way. Do things, become a doer. Don't become a thinker too much. Don't think too much. All right, the role of expectations in our lives. Expectations are like silent architects, continuously shaping our lives, often without our conscious awareness. Understanding the role they play is crucial in navigating both the smooth and the turbulent waters of life. How expectations form, influence our reality, impact our mental health, and how managing them can lead to a more balanced and fulfilling life. As we already stated, expectations are beliefs or predictions about what will happen in the future. They stem from our past experiences, societal norms, and individual aspirations. Whether it's expecting a promotion at work, anticipating how a relationship should evolve, or societal expectations like achieving certain milestones by a specific ego tendency, they guide our actions and responses to various life events. Expectations and reality. Our expectations profoundly influence our perception of reality. They act as a lens through which we view the world. The disappointment gap arises when there is a mismatch between what we anticipate and what actually occurs. This gap can be a source of significant emotional and psychological turmoil, especially when our expectations are rigid and inflexible. The impact of our expectations on mental health. Unmet expectations can lead to a range of negativity and negative emotions, including disappointment, frustration, and sadness. When we set unrealistic expectations, the gap between what we hope for and what happens can lead to stress and anxiety. Studies have shown that consistently unrealistic expectations can increase the risk of mental health issues such as depression and chronic stress. The power of realistic expectations. Setting realistic expectations is not about lowering our standards or giving up our dreams. It's about aligning our ambitions with a practical understanding of what's achievable. Realistic expectations can foster a sense of achievement and satisfaction. They help us approach goals with a balanced mindset, enhancing our overall being. Strategies for managing expectations. Managing expectations requires self-awareness and practice some practical strategies includes setting achievable goals, break down larger goals into smaller, manageable steps, practicing mindfulness, stay present and avoid getting involved into the future possibilities, cope with disappointment, develop resilience by viewing setbacks as opportunities. So all these so after exploring the role of expectations and after determining once again what expectations are and what is their relationship with reality and the impact of our expectations on our mental health and the power of realistic expectations, we developed 3 strategies for managing expectations. So set achievable goals and break down larger goals into smaller manageable steps. Practice mindfulness and cope with disappointment. Develop resilience by viewing setbacks as opportunities. So after viewing the strategies, let's see how expectations in relationships and at work works. Expectations in relationships and work. In relationships, unspoken expectations can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. Communicating openly and understanding each other's perspective is vital. In the work environment, balancing ambition with realistic goals can prevent burnout and increase job satisfaction. So expectations are a fundamental part of our lives. Learning to set and manage them effectively can lead to improved mental health, stronger relationships, and a more fulfilling life. It's a journey worth embarking on, filled with learning and growth at every turn. Reverse optimism. Let's understand it a bit more. What is reverse optimism? Reverse optimism is a refreshing approach to personal well-being and mental health, emerging significantly from traditional views of optimism. While conventional optimism is focused on expecting the best outcomes in every situation, reverse optimism is rooted in setting realistic expectations and embracing life unpredictability. It's about preparing for various outcomes and finding satisfaction, not just success, but in the journey itself. The 5 pillars of reverse optimism are the principle of realistic expectations. This principle revolves around aligning expectations with the probable outcomes of life. It encourages us to set goals that are ambitious yet grounded in reality. The second pillar is principle of joy in surprise. Here the focus is on embracing the unexpected elements of life. Instead of fearing change, this principle teaches us to find joy and opportunities in surprises. The third pillar, principle of present contentment. This principle stresses the importance of returning to the present moment. It's about finding joy in the now rather than consistently chasing future happiness. The fourth pillar, principle of constructive disappointment. This aspect of reverse optimism turns disappointments into learning opportunities, fostering personal growth and resilience. The fifth pillar is principle of continued adaptation. This principle highlights the importance of being flexible and adapting our expectations in response to life's ever-changing circumstances. So, what is reverse optimism? It's rooted in setting realistic expectations and embracing life unpredictability. So you see how things are connected, and Let's dwell again in the 5 pillars of reverse optimism: principle of realistic expectations, the joy in surprise, present contentment, constructive disappointment, continuum adaptation. They all talk about having realistic expectations as its root, and then dwell into the present moment and foster personal growth and resilience. Differentiating from traditional optimism. Unlike traditional optimism, when the focus is often at the end goal, reverse optimism emphasizes the journey. It's not about ignoring challenges or setbacks, but about facing them with a realistic and adaptable mindset. This philosophy does not disregard the power of positive thinking. Rather, it channels it through a lens of practicality and preparedness. Whether you are navigating personal challenges, professional hurdles, or simply seeking a more balanced and fulfilling life, reverse optimism offers tools and perspectives that can profoundly shift your approach to life's journey. So, reverse optimism is a great way to see the world. So, the roles of expectations in our life. Expectations are like silent architect, and we already talk about it. And we talk about expectations and reality, and the gap of disappointment and everything that involves that. But now we have to discuss about defining realistic expectations. Why? Because we want to know more about understanding pessimism. Realistic expectations are based on an objective assessment of facts, personal abilities, and circumstances. This approach involves setting goals and anticipating outcomes that are attainable and grounded in reality. It's about having hope and ambition while being aware of potential challenges and limitations. Pessimism, on the other hand, is a tendency to see the worst aspect of things or believe that the worst will happen. It's often close related by a lack of hope and a belief in negative outcomes. Pessimism is rooted in a mindset that leans towards a negative bias when anticipating future events. The fine line between realism and pessimism. The line between being realistic and being pessimistic can sometimes be thin and blurred. While realism is about acknowledging both positive and negative possibilities, pessimism tends to focus solely on the negative side. For instance, a realistic person might acknowledge the challenges in achieving a goal but will strive for it, whereas a pessimistic can assume the goal is unachievable and not attempt a thing to achieve it. The benefits of realistic expectations. Adopting realistic expectations offers numerous benefits. It leads to better mental health as it reduces the likelihood of disappointment from unrealistic expectations. Realistic goals are more likely to be achieved, leading to a sense of satisfaction and accomplishment. This approach also fosters personal growth as it encourages facing and overcoming realistic challenges. The downsides of pessimism, on the other hand, conversely, a pessimistic outlook can have several negative impacts. It can lead to a decrease in mental well-being, as constant negativity can be mentally draining and lead to feelings of hopelessness. Pessimism can also prevent individuals from seizing opportunities, as they may prematurely conclude that efforts will likely fail. Cultivating a realistic mindset. Developing realistic expectations involves self-awareness and practice. It includes understanding one's strengths and weaknesses, assessing situations objectively, and being prepared to adjust goals as needed. Shifting from a pessimistic to a realistic mindset requires to consciously challenging negative thoughts and focusing on potential positive outcomes. A healthy outlook often involves balancing optimism with realism. This balance allows for the hope and positivity that optimism brings. With the grounded and practical approach of realism. It's about striving for the best while being prepared for less than ideal outcomes. Understanding the delineation between realistic expectations and pessimism is essential for a balanced and healthy mindset. Realistic expectations allow for ambition and hope, and we understand reality. In contrast, pessimism can limit potential and high personal growth. Embracing a balanced perspective is key to leading a fulfilling and great life. So, what a great topic that we have developed here, folks. I mean, I cannot imagine what we have just done here. We have explored a beautiful topic, a beautiful episode has been done. Protocols, mechanism has been given to you, so you can now incorporate everything that we have said in this Raising Up Our Life Standards 14 episode. Rise up to your own expectations. Oh my goodness, we have achieved a great milestone here, and now we are going to recap a bit the episode. And after talking about what is important in life for you and how you can achieve it and how you can spread the words that we exist in this virtual realm, we have explored the meaning of expectations. What are the functions of expectations? We gave 5 examples of unrealistic expectations that fuel magical thinking, like life should be fair, or people have to understand me, or everything will be fine, and people should be nice at me, and I can change the person or the situation. Then later on, we grounded ourselves into the consequences of unrealistic expectations, and we focused our mind into the advantages of expectations. So take responsibility for your decisions, separate your wishes from your duties, and enjoy more the present moment, so expectations cannot become glasses that prevent us from seeing the world clearly. So having realistic expectations will allow us to be more in the present, to build and take advantage of the opportunities that life offers to us. But how to adjust these expectations? We gave 6 ways how to adjust expectations. Control the expectant mind, let go of the need of control, differentiate between realistic and unrealistic expectations, use expectations to open your mind, communicate your expectations, and prepare for a plan B. So how to deal with other people's expectations? Be clear on what you want. The key here lies in finding a balance between what you want and what makes you happy and what does not harm the people around you. After all, whoever really loves you will understand you. And then we explore the psychology after expectations. And we gave the example of this article published by Psychology Today by John A. Johnson. The role of expectations into our lives, the fine line between realistic expectations and expectations in general. So we gave the strategies for managing expectations, such as setting achievable goals, practicing mindfulness, and coping with disappointment. to develop resilience by viewing setbacks as learning opportunities. So, and then we focus ourselves into the expectations in relationship and works, and why expectations are fundamental in our life. And then we dwell ourselves into the reverse optimism. What is reverse optimism, and what are its 5 pillars? Realistic expectations, joy and surprise, present contentment, constructive disappointment, and continuous adaptation. And then we gave a explanation of what differentiates reverse optimism from traditional optimism. Then we gave an explanation about realistic explanation, and we understood pessimism a bit more, and the fine line between them both. What are the benefits of realistic explanation and the downsides of pessimism? How can we cultivate realistic mindset, and how can we balance optimism with realism? So we have covered so much into this topic, and I cannot thank you enough, you guys, for believing in us and tuning into our tools and protocols to become better and to achieve more with your life. So please, please, please never give up. You are a wonderful being. Raising up our life standards, definitely it's not easy, but so it's not so it is regret. So don't regret your life. Build your life. You are amazing. Thank you for counting on us. Thank you for coming here again to listen to our podcast. Thank you for subscribing, sharing, liking, following, commenting into our channel. Thank you for evolving with us, and thank you for involving your families, relatives, friends, and other people to expand our virtual reality over here. So thank you very much for being you. Thank you very much for trying to become the best version that you now know that you can be. I cannot thank you enough. TK here. Happy days. See you next time, folks.